Good afternoon, my friends. This is Lisa, your favorite spoon bunny, joining you once again. And today we're going to be chatting a little bit about the idea of chronic illness, the reality, quote unquote, versus the reality as we actually know it. And today I'm going to be joined by a couple of rather unorthodox little friends. I call them friends, even though they're more just little assistants, little props. But they'll be helping me illustrate a point that can't be made using the spoon theory alone, I think. So this is Norman. This is your average, everyday human being. He does not have a chronic illness, and so he has unlimited amounts of water, life-giving juice, all in his happy insides, as you can see. Okay? And this is Spoonie. Obviously, she's not got quite so much juice inside of her, but we'll get back to them a little later. They're just little paint containers that I use, or not paint containers, but water containers that I use to help me paint. I just had them here, and they kind of helped me to think of how I was going to help express this to you today. But, a lot of us have friends and loved ones and even naysayers in our lives who don't understand the journey of the chronic illness patient, who don't understand what it's like to live on a day-to-day basis with a chronic illness. And there are some who may try to understand us. The spoon theory goes a long way in helping to do that. There are some who just don't care. And then there are some who get very judgy and who just absolutely don't care and say, get over it. You're not as sick as you claim you are. It's not that big of a deal. Just get over it. And those are the folks that I kind of want to talk to you today. Because here's the thing, when you talk to a chronic illness patient, you may notice that Norman looks a lot like Spoonie. Average day-to-day human, full of life and juice and happiness. And Spoonie is not so much. Well, they're both Homo sapien. We haven't yet evolved into Homo superior, as the Marvel comics might suggest. So, they're both existing within these human bodies, but they're functioning on very different levels. And the deceiving part, I think, is the stumbling block for a lot of people, is that the Spoonie looks just like the Norman. And so they see folks out in the public. They see us on our absolute best days, and they see what looks like Norman going out running the errands, going out doing the shopping, going out and going to the doctor's appointments and taking care of all the day-to-day business of everyday life. And they see what they perceive as a Norman. There's nothing wrong with us. We're not sick. There's no big deal, no problems, no issues whatsoever. Well, but that's not the reality. The reality is we have our insight is not the same as the Norman. We don't have as much energy. We don't have as much stamina. And the truth of the matter is that no matter no matter that it's our best day. You know, you might see me get out of the store. You may see me get out of the car at the store on my best day in my handicapped parking place, and I may not need my rolling walker that day, and I may not even need my cane, but I do still need the handicap space, because I do not have the energy and I do not have the stamina to traverse these big box stores the way that Norman can without even thinking twice about. And I've heard so many of my chronic illness friends just heartbroken because, oh my God, I went to the store today and I got so many dirty looks because I got out of my handicap parking spot, or I was riding the little motor scooter at the store, and or they've been heartbroken because their anxiety was out of control because they get the judgy looks and the dirty stares and the just all the grief that comes with, you know, well, hey lady, you know, Miss Betty could have used that parking space. Why didn't you leave it for her? You know, you're just lying about whatever it is you think you have. And Miss Betty, who's on her walker, needed that spot more than you did. Well, that's not necessarily true, because we may look like Norman, but we feel like Spoonie. So, you know, it's just a case of mistaken identity is really all it is, and it's the reality that's perceived versus the reality that we live. And the honest truth is that, you know, the public sees us truly only on our best days. Only when we are capable of getting out there and doing things and going shopping and going and having some semblance of a normal life. That doesn't always happen. You know, on our very, very worst days, you don't see us at all. We're home. We're bundled up. We're lying in bed. We're in our blanket fort, you know, with a cup of hot chocolate and some Netflix and some good old-fashioned, you know, self-care. Just, you know, hiding in that little blanket fort, as my dear friend once termed it. We live there at least half the time. And so when you see us out there in the public, you see us on our best days. And I think that's sort of the misconception. You know, we get out and we don't look sick, you know, aside from, you know, not having enough spoons to put a little makeup on my face. I look just as normal as any other young, quote unquote, grandma. But, you know, the truth of it is that what's inside doesn't match what you see. And on our worst days, you know, we may not even look like this. We may actually end up feeling a lot more like this. Where we're just down to our last dregs. and we've been beaten and dented and, horribly misused, as my poor little water canister can attest. But, the thing is, if you have a chronic illness patient in your life, be they a friend or a loved one or a family member, make every effort to be the best support system that you possibly can. Don't be a naysayer. Don't tell them to just get over it, because they can't. For most of our illnesses, there is no cure. And when you see us out in public, we may look normal, but we're hurting. We're in pain. And it's not the sort of, well, my legs are sore because I had a really great workout yesterday and my muscles are sore kind of pain. Depending on the disorder, we're talking about bone and joint pain. We're talking about nerve pain. We can even be talking about systemic pain, where even your internal organs are in severe pain and hurting to the point that the average person would just go screaming to the hospital and beg to be admitted. And most of the time, especially in light of new governmental guidelines, we're expected to just, I forget the politician's name, but I do believe he was quoted as, as saying, just take some Tylenol and suck it up. Get over it. I'm like, are you serious? Dude, do you even know the levels of pain that we endure? I've dislocated one tiny little toe in my lifetime. That doesn't mean that I even remotely understand what an Ehlers-Danlos patient goes through. I understand what a CRPS patient goes through because that's my disorder. I understand what a fibromyalgia patient goes through because that's my sister's disorder. I understand what, spinal stenosis is like. I understand what herniated discs are like. I understand what, several bone and joint issues are like. I understand what nerve pain is every single day. And for people to say, we don't need this, or we don't need that, or we don't need this other thing in a vacuum is easy. It's not so easy to live a day, let alone a week, let alone a month, inside our bodies and understand the levels of pain and fatigue and there are so many symptoms over so many conditions that are they're no joke. So for your chronic illness patient, the reality is so much worse than the perceived reality. And if you have the chance to lend a helping hand or a supportive ear or a kind heart to a chronic illness patient today, please do so. They need you more than you could ever imagine. And so I will leave you with that, my friends. Just remember, we may all be the same. We may all be human. But we're not all the same inside. And so until next time, my friends, this is the Spoon Bunny signing off. May your spoons be plenty and your troubles be few. Have a great day.